Commissioners. We will begin our meeting with Dana reading some notes for folks who are following online, and then we will do the Pledge of Allegiance.
For members of the public wishing to comment remotely at the Board of Commissioners' regular Monday night business meeting during designated public comment times, business and consent agenda, public hearings, and general issues, the following options are available. For internet users, please click on the raise hand feature to signal that you would like to comment. That sound will be muted and the internet participant should announce her or his name. The participant will be called upon to speak at the appropriate time. Closed captions have been enabled. Members of the public can view the link to the instructions in the chat. Please note that we will not be able to assist you should you experience technical difficulties. For call-in users, please dial *9 on your keypad to signal that you would like to comment. The last 4 digits of the call-in number will be announced, and call-in participants should announce their first and last name before speaking.
All right. If you can, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dana, what's next?
Item 2A, resolution appointing Elizabeth Holland to the Council for Human Rights for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2027.
Do we have a motion?
I have a motion. I want to move to approve appointing Elizabeth Holland in District 2 to the Council for Human Rights for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2027.
Second. Is there any discussion?
There is. I have a couple things. All right. Okay. A little bit about the Council of Human Rights advises the Board of Commissioners on issues related to discrimination, promotes the equitable treatment of all people, and reduces prejudice through prevention, education, and resource referral and advocacy. Elizabeth Holland applied to serve as the District 2 representative to fill a vacancy. I reviewed her application, was impressed. We had a great interview, talked a lot about a lot of things. And again, I was very impressed. So she is hopefully tonight be appointed and for a 3-year term ending December 31st, 2027. A little bit about Liz. She's the vice president of an experience and research design organization for Boeing Employees Credit Union. She's also a subject matter expert on website accessibility guidelines. She earned a master's degree in human factors and information design. As a member of the LGBTQ plus community and as a parent, she is deeply committed in advocating for human rights and contributing to initiatives that ensure every person is treated with fairness and respect. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion?
No,
Is she here tonight?
she is. She is. Would you like to come up and say a couple words?
Well, maybe we should vote first.
Oh,
and
yeah, I
then
guess that
come on
probably
up.
makes sense.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion to appoint Elizabeth Holland to the Council for Human Rights, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Elizabeth, thank you for stepping forward. Would you like to make a couple of comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you for the very warm welcome. I'm a new member of the Kitsap community. I've been here for about 6 years, originally from New York, and my family and I love it here, and I'm very pleased and eager to help and work with the council members on the Human Rights Council. And thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us too. I think you'll like the council.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Item 3A, resolution proclaiming the week of May 18th, 2025 as National Public Works Week in Kitsap County.
Good evening, Commissioners. Let me just share my screen. Good evening. My name is Kim Pleger, and I am the Communications Manager for Kitsap County Public Works. I'd also like to acknowledge my Public Works colleagues who are behind me in the room. In particular, I do want to just call attention to Tina Nelson, who serves as a board member for the association, the American Public Works Association. I am pleased to be here today to present on National Public Works Week. So this year marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week, which is sponsored by the American and Canadian Public Works Associations. The theme this year is People, Purpose, Presence, which highlights three cornerstone ideals that motivate public works professionals to serve in their communities every day. Meeting the needs of people is what gives our staff its sense of purpose. With or without fanfare, Public Works is ever present, working in the background to advance quality of life for all, such as you can see in some of the photos being shared on the screen. I have a proclamation that I'd like to read. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Kitsap County, Washington. And whereas the support of an understanding and informed community is vital to the efficient operation of Kitsap County Public Works programs, including sewers, roads, solid waste, and stormwater management. And whereas the health, safety, and welfare of this community greatly depend on these facilities, programs, and services. And whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning, design, and construction, are vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of Kitsap County Public Works staff. And whereas we appreciate the employees in the Kitsap County Department of Public Works who work hard every day to provide quality services throughout the county. And whereas the year 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association, be it now, therefore be it resolved that the Kitsap County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim the week of May 18th, 2025 as National Public Works Week. In Kitsap County, we call upon all residents and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize the contributions which our public works staff make every day to our health, safety, comfort, and quality of life. So I want to thank you for your time this evening. And I'd like to propose that the Board of County Commissioners recognize the contribution of all of our Kitsap County professionals by proclaiming the week of May 18th National Public Works Week in Kitsap County. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for joining us today for that presentation. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'm happy to make that. I move to proclaim the week of May 18th, 2025 as National Public Works Week in Kitsap County.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion?
Just a huge thank you to all of our public works staff, because exactly what you said, Kim, everything works and you don't know it because it's seamless, and we're so appreciative of all they do so that to keep our roads safe, our people safe, our infrastructure in place, and just so grateful for all your department does.
Very
Yep,
nice.
thank you.
Okay, seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. The week of May 18th is hereby proclaimed National Public Works Week in Kitsap County. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, and our next resolution is also Public Works.
Yes. Item 3B, resolution designating June 6th, 2025 as Secure Your Load Day in Kitsap County.
Good evening, Commissioners. Just share my screen. Okay.
All right, good evening, Commissioners. My name is Caitlin Newman. I'm a program supervisor with the Public Works Department. I'm in the Solid Waste Division. I'm here this evening to ask for your proclamation declaring June 6, 2025 as Secure Your Load Day in Kitsap County. Secure Your Load Day is recognized across the country to commemorate lives that have been taken or impacted by debris from unsecured vehicle loads. It's also a day to remind drivers about their responsibility to secure all vehicle cargo. The Secure Your Load campaign was started in 2016 by Robin Abel, a Washington State resident whose daughter was nearly killed by a piece of particle board that flew from a vehicle on a state highway. Robin's advocacy has changed laws across the nation and has started a movement. The impact of unsecured loads is large. In 2022, there were nearly 900 deaths nationally. In Washington, there are typically 300 crashes each year. And last year here in Kitsap, 911 received more than 380 phone calls to report road debris, ranging from buckets to wheelbarrows to ladders. Any of this debris could have harmed someone in our community. Unsecured loads also harm the environment, and it's estimated that up to 40% of roadside litter here in Washington flew or fell from an unsecured vehicle load. To stop this in our community, Kitsap County Public Works has actively taken part in the Secure Your Load for Safer Roads campaign since 2021. Thanks in part to state grants, we have given away more than 2,000 free cargo nets, ratchet straps, and tarps to help local drivers properly secure their loads. For this year's campaign, which will get started with hopefully your proclamation of Secure Your Load Day on June 6th, we'll have a news bulletin announcing more giveaways of these cargo tie downs. Deputy Sean Montague with the Sheriff's Office will also be providing outreach at our transfer station. Washington State Patrol troopers will have emphasis patrols throughout June to look for unsecured loads and provide education. And at the end of July, we'll take the campaign to the Whaling Days Festival in Silverdale. Public Works also offers a disincentive to driving with an unsecured load in the form of a $10 fee at our transfer stations. Since 2023, we have charged over 15,000 customers with this fee, and the fees collected go toward cleaning up litter on Kitsap County roads. Now, the impact of this campaign is still being measured right now, but I do have some preliminary data to share. In 2021 and 2022, around 16% of our transfer station customers arrived without any tie downs. And our preliminary data that we're collecting this week and last week is that 3% of transfer station customers made no attempt to secure their cargo, meaning 97% were either fully secured or at least made a good faith effort. Not an exact science, unfortunately. Now, with that, I would like to ask for your support of this campaign and to declare June 6th as Secure Your Load Day in Kitsap County. And I'd like to ask everyone in the room to share this message from Robin Abel, the founder of this campaign. Share it with your friends and family. Secure your load as if everyone you love is traveling in the vehicle behind you. Thank you for your time. Would you like me to read the whereases?
Yes,
Can I escape?
that is
Okay.
our tradition.
Whereas National Secure Your Load Day is marked on June 6th in Washington and other states to commemorate people whose lives were impacted or taken by unsecured vehicle loads, and to encourage drivers to properly secure their cargo every time they drive. And whereas unsecured vehicle loads cause over 300 crashes in Washington State every year and cause up to 40% of roadside litter. And whereas securing vehicle cargo will prevent crashes, injuries, death, and litter in Kitsap County. And whereas litter and driving with an unsecured vehicle load is against the law in Washington State. And whereas Kitsap County wishes to recognize the employees of Kitsap County transfer stations for their important role in educating others about the importance of load securement. And whereas Kitsap County encourages residents and businesses to secure their load every time they drive and to speak with friends, family, and coworkers about the importance of load securement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners do hereby recognize June 6th as Secure Your Load Day, hopefully, if you adopt it. Thank you.
Okay, did we already have a motion?
No.
Okay,
Okay.
who would like to move?
Okay, I move to approve the resolution designating June 6, 2025 as Secure Your Load Day in Kitsap County.
I'll give you an enthusiastic second.
Okay, any discussion?
I do, Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
I have to say the brief and the education and the knowledge that our citizens, obviously the numbers speak for themselves, that the word's getting out, and I think the law helps that, but also the positivity that we see in our community about wanting to keep things clean. I mean, we all volunteered with our public works with you guys to, clean up Gorst and that side of the highway. It was very enlightening, and it was very enjoyable to do that, seeing the end product. So thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Dish that Commissioner Root dragged out, the vegetation was unsecured or purposely thrown out.
Right. Yeah, hard to say on that one. I don't know if that would fit through a window, but.
Caitlin, I just want to emphasize, you told us when you briefed us on this a week or so ago that you were going to be out at the transfer stations counting loads and go from 16% unsecured to 3%. It seems like a very good increase. It seems like
Yeah.
a very good success. So
Anecdotally,
congratulations.
we had noticed this for years, but it was nice to see some data supporting it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And thanks to those that work at the transfer station too. I think, yeah, you mentioned in our whereases, but really the education piece is so huge.
Yep.
And even though it's a small fine, I think it's a significant reminder of the importance of securing your load. So thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your work, Caitlin.
Item number 4, administrators' comments.
No comments this evening, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Okay.
This is an opportunity for the public to address the board on regular business agenda, including consent agenda.
Okay, and I have nobody signed up to speak. We have a bunch of people signed up to speak to an item that is on the agenda, which is the Arborwood Developers Agreement, which we will have those comments at the end of the meeting so that people have the benefit of hearing the presentation and can comment following before we make a decision. Is there anybody online who wishes to speak to anything on the business or consent agenda?
No one is raising their hand.
Okay.
I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Oh, I do have someone that just popped up. So,
Let's go back for them.
okay.
Okay.
Anthony Burgess, I'll allow you to speak. Go ahead.
Just requesting to be repositioned as a panelist for agenda item 2A, if any questions come up.
Okay.
Okay, that was not a member of the public. It's
Sorry.
Anthony from our sewer utility. That's great. Thank you, Anthony. We will see you soon. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I just want to let you know, I was out, but I did have the opportunity to review and with all the links. So just so you know that I did review it. So I'm happy I'm comfortable approving the consent agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Walters. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda is approved.
Item 2A, resolution allowing an extension to and modification of the 2010 development agreement with Pulte Homes of Washington and Taylor Morrison Northwest.
Okay, and we have a presentation from Ray Fleischem, our DCD director. And then following that presentation, we'll get Rafe up here first. So while he's getting set up, I want to remind folks that the board held a public hearing on this matter in February 3rd of 2025.
Right.
And thereafter
Appreciate it.
directed the Department of Community
Music, so-
Development to negotiate terms of an extension. We've been briefed in open session along the way as to the progress, and tonight we will deliberate and decide on the developers agreement extension request. So we're first going to have this presentation that summarizes it. Then we will have some remarks from Taylor Morrison and/or Pulte, who are the other parties to the DA. Then we'll pause deliberations and decision until the end of the meeting. And and we'll take public comment during the last public comment period. And so for context for us to consider as we're listening, we have three main options open to us. Approve what is before us, don't approve what is before us, in which case the DA would expire and the Arborwood project would go forward as it's vested currently under state and local rules. Or we could not approve what is before us tonight, but seek agreement for another limited extension to negotiate further changes. So those are the three fundamental options we'll have at the end of the meeting. Are we ready technologically?
I think we're there. Sorry.
There we
Let
go.
me just-
Okay.
All right. Sorry about the commissioners. Good evening. I'm Rafe Weisham, the Director of Community Development, and I'm here to discuss the Arborwood DA extension. So the agenda today, first, we'll talk through the options as presented back in March. Actually, I think it was February. Then we'll get to today's ask. We'll go through a little bit of background on the DA and Arborwood specifically. We'll go through the board request as part of the negotiation process that you tasked my department with back in February. We'll go through the changes we made, specifically the relevant changes to the DA, and then we'll open up for questions. Wow, I jumped forward. Okay, so for the options presented to the board back in February, we presented 4 options. One was to extend the existing development agreement with changes to names and dates. 2, to approve a 5-year extension as requested by the applicant. 3, to approve the extension and amend it to meet other code and other changes. And then 4 was to disapprove the extension. I've starred number 3 today because that's today's ask. Approve the proposed resolution allowing an extension to and modification of the 2010 development agreement with the applicants. So what is a development agreement? I think we're all pretty clear, but just to reemphasize, Kitsap code states it's an agreement between the county and an owner of property regarding development use and or mitigation of proposed development. So here you can see where Arborwood is located. It's just southwest of Kingston. On the right, you see the phases. Those phases are pretty accurate as of today, with phase 1 through 5, and then 6 north and 6 south. As of right now, phase 1 is final and development has started. We have received applications for SDAPs for phases 2 through 6. And we also have minor plat amendments currently for phases 3 and 6. All right, a little background where we were a couple months ago. The 2010 DA was set to expire on March 10th. So back in February, you gave us a 63-day extension to that March 10th date to March 12th to allow for negotiation in line with the board directives. County staff had negotiated with the owner with updates to the board in open session and now recommend the adoption of the amended and restated DA. As a reminder, here were the requests you guys asked of us. First, to bring stormwater facilities to current standards. You asked for phasing and clearing grading activities to be clearly stipulated. Goal was and is to avoid large-scale clear cutting that sits without further activity. Minimize the need of mitigation in the 50-foot buffer. Discuss options regarding fire safety. Discretion regarding the clarity, ease of implementation and monitoring for both parties. And then timeframe extensions and conditions of extensions. And as we go through these changes, I'll kind of point out where we've highlighted each one of these throughout the process. Added to the negotiation process as we started going through One, when talking with Public Works, we realized we needed to have a discussion with the applicants regarding the sanitary sewer maintenance bonds and general maintenance costs with lift station 82, which we can talk through as we get to it. Based on interested party concerns and comments, we wanted to discuss potential vesting to current CAO. And then some issues we were having with regards to park impact fees and how we assessed them and collected them. We wanted to clear that up in this DA. So those are three things we added as part of the negotiation process. So we'll jump right into the changes we've made. There's about 12 of them. The first one just adds recitals G through L, updating to reflect the current situation. We added section 2.2, which is the project perimeter buffer, and this addresses your request number 3, which was minimize the need of mitigation in a 50-foot buffer. Specifically, this requires an arborist risk assessment report for each SDAP, which also includes tree removal and replacement vegetation. It addresses those and talks about those two things. Section 2.4.2 addresses the sewer concerns regarding lift station 82. This is what we talked about. One of the 3 things we've added. The county in this part, the county agrees to release the current sewer maintenance bonds, but then Pulte agrees to post a new bond in the amount described on the screen. That bond is eligible for inspection after 3 years or 210 connected residences, and this is associated with phases 1 through 3. And then Pulte agrees to reimburse up to $5,000 per year for general service and maintenance costs associated with lift station 82. And as you know, and Anthony is online to answer any questions regarding that one. Item 4 was to add section 2.5 stormwater, and that is to bring stormwater facilities to current standards. They are bringing, per the new DA, they meet all current stormwater standards, or they will, required to. Section 2.6 for CAO, this is another one we added. This addresses the CAO vesting. And to summarize, and I know it can be a little difficult to read the DA, and because we highlight everything that they now are required to come into compliance with the critical areas, and it's a lot. So what I'll talk to here for a second is what they are not going to come into compliance with 2024, and they're going to remain vested in 2007. And those things are section 210, which is wetland ID and function rating. Section 220, which is wetland buffer requirements. And parts of section 315, which is stream buffers. To summarize that, it's basically the buffers that have been updated with 2024 CAO requirements that they are not going to come into compliance with. And the reason for that is because that would require major plat amendments to what they have currently submitted. In order to offset that, the applicants have agreed to address, to mitigate and enhance certain areas outside of that. And I'm going to show where those areas are on the next few slides. Those areas are certain existing roads within existing logging roads located within the buffer and abandoned on construction of the new project, and where feasible, adjacent to new stormwater facilities. So as we go through that, you can see here what I have circled is the 5 different areas where they've proposed potential mitigation and enhancement. Area 1, and you can see on the right what is in the red lines, maybe a little bit tough to see, but it's basically the road coming out of what is phase 3, I believe, or phase 2, might be phase 2, actually phase 2, and some old logging roads there, kind of in the center of that screen. So basically everything in red is potential proposed mitigation. For area 2, you can see that's an old logging road, potential mitigation and enhancement. Area 3, this is the stormwater facility. So on the west side of the stormwater facility. Area 4 another road coming out of, you can see lot 57 there. And Area 5, a pretty vast area all the way from the farthest north part of the proposed development all the way down to roughly Phase 6, the north area of Phase 6. So kind of along the left side of the development, and then a little bit along the edge of the road, and then some more down to the south along a wetland, and then an old logging road, I believe. All right, change number 6 addresses the automatic fire sprinklers. This is in request to number 4 that you guys had. This new updated DA allows up to 163 homes to be sprinkled before second fire apparatus road is put in. It also requires the owners to provide written materials describing the benefits and provide an option for installing or purchasing sprinklers for their homes. Item 7 addresses your request number 6 for time frame. It is now a 5-year baseline extension, and there are tripwires for extending this longer. The first tripwire is 2 years for each phase, where 75% of the residential units are completed or have issued building permits. If you note that there are 7 phases, 1 through 5, 6 north and 6 south, this only allows for an extension through the first 5 that they complete this, so a maximum of 10-year extension. It also has some additional extensions if DCD does not meet review delays per 5290, which is 100 days for type 1, 170 for type 2. It's a 2-to-1 ratio, so 2-day extension for every 1 day we don't meet that, up to 30 days delay. Beyond that, it's going to extend the DA for a year. And then the last thing is appeal delays. The agreement automatically is extended for the equivalent time the agreement or permits are under appeal, not including owner appeals. Impact fees, I'll summarize it this way. The applicants are basically now paying impact fees, park impact fees, and then we refund them. The way the old DA was written, I won't get into the math, but they were basically allowed refund for compensation for the greenway for the first over 1,000 homes that they provided. They're only building 751. So why are we collecting the fees, then just paying them back? It's just a money process. So now they don't pay the fees. If we ever get to the point where they do not provide the greenway to the county, then they will then go back and we will collect those park impact fees. But assuming everything goes smoothly, it will just be a process that happens, and then we get the greenway, the county gets the greenway. Section 9, or number 9, adds permit processing, which it's basically just saying that there's no vesting to procedure. Previous DA did not include this, so we just cleared it up. Number 10, just small change that requires DCD to schedule intact screening for any arborwood permits from 28 days to 14 days. We'll be able to do that. Number 11 adds consolidation of implementing approvals. This gets after, not directly, but indirectly, your requirement for number 6, which is to prevent that clearing and then just sitting there. By allowing them to consolidate, they can now, once they're ready to start grading and clearing, they can do that instead of getting out in front of it. And based on timelines that we require once we approve it. So this along with the stipulation of the 75% build out to get a 2-year extension kind of incentivize them to do the vertical development, or I'm sorry, the horizontal development. Sorry, the vertical development. I was right the first time, which then follows the, as we know, kind of the landscaping is the last piece of this, right? And we all want that last piece, the landscaping, kids playing in the yard, right? That's where it becomes prettier again, not when it's just a large dirt field. And then finally, section 8.4 addresses the appeals, and it removes the administrative appeal process. So think hearing examiner. However, the DA is still subject to the judicial appeal process. So back to today's ask. They're asking you to approve the proposed resolution that's in front of you to extend the DA for a 5-year minimum with potential longer times. I want to highlight here, before I turn it over to questions, that we have a lot of interested parties in the arbor with permits, but I'll leave this up here for a second for anybody who wants to get themselves added. You can go to that website. It's pretty simple, sign up, and then we will, any time we send out notifications to send out notifications, we will send those to anybody on the interested party list. We are also in the process of improving our notification system at DCD. So at some time in the future, I'm hoping that we don't need to do this because everything is online. It's not there yet, but we're working to it. And I know that's some concerns that some of the neighbors had, but we're working on the notification process to make it clearer and easier for people to see what's going on. That's all I have pending your questions.
Okay, are there questions from commissioners?
No, I really want to thank you and your department because you were able to give us all this information and line items in advance for us for review for tonight. So thank you.
Rafe, could you address one of the comments that we got today from the neighbors about the arborist, basically the 50-foot buffer work that you added in here?
Yeah, so anytime that they're going to do some clearing, they're gonna within that, when they're looking to do clearing near that 50-foot buffer or in that 50-foot buffer, we're gonna have an arborist go out and walk the property with the member DCD and with the applicant to address the trees that needed to be taken out because of potential wind throw, potential root rot, so that we can avoid maybe some things we've seen in other areas of the county. What we will try to make sure that's clear that that is happening, so that when it happens, that people in the surrounding neighborhoods are aware that we are doing that, so they can voice their concerns in advance of us walking that. So we can, as we're walking that property, can also work with the arborist and the applicant for that piece.
And you've put part of the buffer into its own parcel, correct? Or the developer will be putting part of the parcel into a separate lot, like owned by the homeowners as association as opposed to owned by the people. I'm looking over at Scott. He's nodding. Yes.
Go ahead, Scott.
It's a homeowner's tract.
Okay.
It's a homeowner's tract. Thank you.
Just one thing, yeah.
Okay.
I want to reiterate Commissioner Walters being a part of this, being a new commissioner and sitting down through this this DA agreement and the modifications that you and your department has spent endless hours trying to work closely with all parties involved, all stakeholders. I have to applaud you. It's been very impressive to watch, and it's been a learning curve for me, and I appreciate it. I know it's been a long road, so thank you for that.
I also want to express appreciation to the neighbors for your involvement in this, because we know this deeply impacts you and your community. So thank you so much for your comments and for helping us guide our questions as well.
Yeah. And can I just point out that not only people in my department, which they've been obviously tremendous, and they just tell me what to say and then I say it. But also Lisa Nickel, who's helped out tremendously through this process as the attorney helping us, because I wouldn't have been able to do it without her as well. So.
Thank you.
Noted.
Are we having the applicant speak now? I have Andrew, Lewis, and Pete signed up for the general speaking after the meeting when the public is commenting. Is that what, are they speaking later?
I think the plan was to have them speak now,
Okay,
and then we would do the comments at the end.
okay. Andrew?
Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Andrew Lewis, legal counsel for Taylor Morrison and Pulte Group in this development agreement process. And just to clarify, we would like to speak at the end of the comment period in case something is raised that to respond to, just like any similarly situated public commenter, but give some remarks now in advance that are more broad to the agreement as a whole. So if that would be all right with the commission.
I wasn't expecting that, but we will make that work.
Thank you so much. Commissioners, I will make a couple of remarks and then hand it over to Pete Limberis from Taylor Morrison. I want to begin by expressing our deep appreciation to county staff, as was just relayed by the commission and by Rafe, to everyone who worked as part of this process following the February 3rd hearing to deliver on the concerns that were raised by the community and raised by the commission as part of the Arborwood Development Agreement process. Pete Limberis is going to cover some of what we want to present this evening, and then I will come back to the podium to make a couple of additional remarks. So with that, I want to hand it over to Pete at this time.
Thank you, Andrew. Good evening, commissioners. It's great to be with you again. My name again is Pete Limberis, and I'm the president of the Pacific Northwest Division of Taylor Morrison. Ryan Stokes, the division president of Pulte Group, couldn't be here tonight, but he wanted me to extend a hello, and he also kind of partners with me on these remarks. I want to start by expressing my appreciation for the professionalism and hard work of DCD and the rest of the Kitsap County team, including the DA and her team. We very much appreciate them working with us on the agreement in front of you this evening. Following the hearing on February 3rd, the commission asked staff to explore with Taylor Morrison and Pulte Group updates to the development agreement, including stormwater, critical areas, fire sprinkler standards, in addition to changes to applicable processing procedures and the term length of the agreement. The agreement before you this evening delivers on all of those fronts. Through discussions between DCD and the Taylor Morrison and Pulte team, Arborwood will fully implement current stormwater standards and on all remaining phases of Arborwood, sorry about that, apply a substantial portion of the current critical area standards and increase the amount of automatic fire sprinklers installed in the homes in Arborwood. All of these changes to the DA are county benefits, in addition to the continued agreement that the 104-acre greenway will be conveyed to the county and Heritage Park and expand Heritage Park. Further benefits include certainty to consistently build and deliver new homes to the Kitsap County community. To achieve this, implementing approvals for Arborwood will not be subject to administrative appeals, and permitting reviews will be expedited. As home building progresses, term extensions will be unlocked, ensuring that the right amount of developed land will be ahead of and made available for continuous new home production. This agreement, in short, centers the interest of both Arborwood and the county for the benefit of the broader community. After months of diligent negotiation and hard work, we can move forward in partnership and finally get Arborwood over the finish line. I strongly urge you to accept our joint recommendation with DCD to pass the resolution before you and support the amendment to the DA this evening. Thank you.
Hello again, commissioners. I just want to highlight a few more areas of the agreement before we proceed with the agenda. When Taylor Morrison and Pulte Group initially proposed an amendment to the DA in August of 2024, it was a very limited agreement, simply extending the term of the DA mostly in the status quo and providing for initial time to complete the project as it was originally envisioned. But the agreement that we have here today and that has been testified to confers a greater public benefit and takes into consideration a lot of the changes that the county has experienced during the pendency of entering the DA to the present day. So under the terms of the original agreement, the Arborwood project will deliver the 104-acre Greenway expansion to Heritage Park, as well as a number of other community amenities, a 3-acre community park, 18 pocket parks throughout the development, 8,000 feet of recreational trails, a paved regional and pedestrian trail, And now, per the terms of the agreement as amended, in addition to those benefits from the underlying DA, there will be conveyed a complete upgrade to current stormwater code for the remainder of the project, the remaining phases of the project. Substantial upgrades to applicable critical area code, as Rafe covered in detail, with the assistance of the maps of the critical areas to be receive additional remediation. And the number of homes with automatic fire sprinklers, which was also covered in the DCD presentation. In return for these updates to the code beyond the vested rights of the development, Taylor Morrison and Pulte Group will receive reasonable extensions to the term of the agreement as construction progress is demonstrated on 75% per phase of the remaining phases of the project, as well as reasonable accommodation in regards to the waiver of the administrative appeals that have resulted in significant delay throughout the pendency of the project to the present. We greatly appreciate DCD's willingness to commit to these more certain permitting process schedules that will reduce development delays and also help realize a lot of these benefits to the county through this careful negotiation. And the substantial update confers greater public benefit and increased certainty in line with the direction that the board gave to DCD at the beginning of this process, starting from the February 3rd hearing. We are happy to answer any questions that the commission may have for the applicant at this time or a later time at the commission's pleasure, and really appreciate the opportunity to offer this testimony this evening and strongly urge you to approve the resolution that is before you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I am, as I indicated prior to the beginning of this presentation, we're going to hold this item until the end of the agenda and we will, at the end of the agenda, we will have time for public comment, and then the board will deliberate and take action. And there may be questions for you guys after that. Okay, let's move on to the next item on the agenda.
Item 7C, contract with Seton Construction for the roadway improvement project of the Port Gamble Forest Heritage Park North Gateway gravel parking lot in Commissioner District 1.
Let me just up here. Good evening, commissioners. My name is Michelle Philly, and I'm a project manager in Public Works. Before you is a recommendation to award a construction contract with Seton Construction for the Port Gamble Forest Heritage Park North Gateway Parking Lot STO Segment D1, a joint Public Works and Parks project. The county opened bids on April 22nd, and we received 6 bids. Seton Construction was the lowest bidder and deemed responsible under the terms of the contract. Now I'll give you a brief update on the project. So this project is located at the very north end of the Port Gamble Park. It is close to the Parks County boundary and OPG, which is now Radiant's property. The star right there shows you the location of the project, which is in very close proximity to the existing ride park. So this is just a snip from the project plans, and I just want to note that this is rotated on its side, so north is to your right. But I just wanted to highlight some few things, but the project itself is a 75 stall parking lot with an access road that connects to the existing Carver Drive. And there is also a portion of the STO that connects to the existing portion of along Carver Drive, which is segment D1. Some of the features, there's ADA accessible restroom and parking. The parking lot is going to be a gravel surface, so it's not asphalt. There's going to be native plantings. We are recycling the topsoil on site, and then we are also providing stormwater treatment. And I just wanted to highlight also on the left, there are some photos I threw on there. These are some of the habitat features and the timber wheel stops that we are providing in the project that we are going to be using from the recycled trees that are coming down as part of it. So there's a raptor perch, habitat log, and rock pile for the critters. And because I said I was going to keep this brief, just to summarize, this project has been awarded to Seton Construction. The contract amount is $973,198.84. Funding sources include roads and parks funds and the Kitsap Public Facilities District. And the approximate construction time frame is June through September of this year. So I can answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Michelle. Are there any questions? I have a question before we,
Yeah.
I have two questions.
Okay.
One is thank you for coming. Usually we don't have presentations if the project's below $1 million, but because this is such a high profile project, I'm glad that you were able to be here to present it. So my two questions are, one, is there really going to be a bathroom by the end of the summer?
Yeah, it's a vault toilet, so.
Still,
but
okay.
Yes, we're gonna get one.
That's an improvement. And then secondly, Alex has heard me say this, but can you make sure that there are construction information signs on both sides so people know what the project is?
Yep, we are already working on that and we're working on our outreach. We're working with North Kitsap Trails Association. I've been speaking with the mountain bike club that maintains the ride park, so we're all over it.
Very good. Well, and thank you for working with NKTA and other advocates on making it a welcoming, like a great welcome to the park, kind of a parking lot. Thank you.
Fun.
And I do have one comment. I was at a Washington State Association of Counties conference, and I have to say 2 or 3 people mentioned the ride park and how great it is and what an asset for Kitsap County. And this is just going to improve it, not just for the ride park, but for those who like to just walk in the park as well. And the bathroom will be a, a much appreciated addition. So thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Yep. I'll make a motion. Motion to approve the contract between Seton Construction Incorporated, Kitsap County TAC 226, TAC 25 for the roadway improvement project of Port Gamble Heritage Park, North Gateway Gravel Parking Lot in Commissioner 1's district.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Michelle's first week of work was my first week of work. You've been working on this parking lot for a while. Yeah.
Public hearing A for deliberation decision only, continuation of a public hearing to consider a resolution amending the 2025 annual budget.
Okay, we had a public hearing on this at our last meeting, but we did not take action. I moved it to this for deliberation and decision only. Do commissioners have any comments they wanted to make on this? Okay, I know our budget office is online if we have questions. Okay, this was pretty straightforward. Seeing no discussion, I need a motion. Did we get a motion?
We did not yet.
Okay,
I'm happy to move to approve resolution amending the 2025 annual budget.
And I'll second.
all right. Is there any other discussion? Dan, I'm really glad you're here to keep track of all this. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Public hearing B for deliberation decision only, continuation of a public hearing to consider a petition to vacate a portion of right-of-way known as Division Avenue within the plat of Chief Seattle Park located in Commissioner District 1.
Is there a motion? This also, we had a public hearing on this. We had one neighbor come and speak in favor. I think we heard from a couple of neighbors, but it was favorable. But again, we decided to move it for deliberation decision only to this meeting.
All right, Madam Chair, I'll make a motion. I move to approve the petition to vacate a portion of the right-of-way known as Division Avenue within the plat of Chief Chief Seattle Park located in Commissioner One's district.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, seeing no further discussion, thank you, Public Works, for your patience working through this. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. The petition to vacate is approved.
Public hearing C for deliberation decision only. Continuation of a public hearing to consider an ordinance amending portions of the Kitsap County Code, Chapter 14.04, Technical Building Codes.
Okay, we had a public hearing on this at our last meeting too, and likewise, we moved it forward. Is there a motion?
So I haven't had a chance to review all of the public comments from the last meeting, so if you're open, I would like to push this to our June 9th meeting for decision. And if not, I'll just abstain.
I don't think there is a timeline urgency. I'm looking at David. Is there like a state law that this has to be done by, or can we push it to June 9th?
Good evening, Commissioners. David Lineham, Kitsap County Fire Marshal. We probably should have had this ordinance done about 14 months ago at the same time that we adopted the code. If there are changes in leadership and all the workload that we've had move forward, it's caused us to be late. So the sooner we can do it, the better we will be.
Okay, thank you. Can you just stay up here? And,
Yes.
So this is for deliberation decision only. I think there's not a motion before us, but it sounds like there's a request to
I can move to delay.
continue the public hearing until June 9th for deliberation and decision only. I'm comfortable with it, with some of the assurances that David had for me, which was that the Kitsap Building Association had they had 3 things they wanted further conversation about. Those things have been festering, that's probably not the right verb, but have been kind of lingering to be resolved for some time. And David assured me that we could get it on the 2026 work plan or even get it started now. But so with that, I was comfortable moving it forward. But I do appreciate
Yeah, I just
that
need
you
to,
have, you
yeah,
need to
because
take a look at
yeah,
it.
since I've been gone, there's lots I've been able to review, but this is one that I just haven't had a chance to really have time to speak with David about. I know we had the chiefs have sent a letter. I just wanted to have a little bit more time to, so I defer to you.
I'm comfortable deferring it for one more meeting. I hate to have it continue lingering.
Sorry, chiefs.
Well, Commissioner Walters, I mean, obviously we want this to be, everybody has a fair opportunity to look at it and read it. And I think, Dave, you've absolutely laid it all out and importance and all the work that everybody's been doing. But I think it's only fair that Commissioner Walters has a little bit more time to look at that and make sure that there isn't any more discussion on it.
Yeah, my apologies, because I know that we've got things from Home Builders Association, from the chiefs, and I just haven't had a chance to talk to you directly since I've been gone. So I just want to have that conversation so that I can be comfortable in however I vote.
I'm going to move that we continue this public hearing to the June 9th meeting for deliberation and decision only.
Second.
Further discussion?
Thank you.
All right, we will move it along and you two will connect.
Thank you,
Okay,
Commissioner.
very good. Thank you. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need to vote?
Oh, do we need to vote?
No, you're
We
good. Mhm. Public hearing D, public hearing to consider a petition to vacate a portion of undeveloped right-of-way known as Northeast Arizona Street and 6th Avenue Northeast, located in Commissioner District 3.
All right, and to present this is Susie Pride. And we, Commissioner Walters, we recognize that this was your commissioner district and you were not here when we scheduled it, but we had already advertised the public hearing. So we will have the public hearing
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Susie Pride. And I work for Public Works, Roads and Engineering Department with the Real Estate Services Division. So the Hatch area, you see the larger portion is North Prairie Water District, and they are asking for the little Hatch areas that are right of way. But so they, North Prairie Water requested, sent a petition to vacate for portions of Northeast Arizona Street and 6th Avenue Northeast. This request was reviewed by various departments, and none of our reviewers had found any objection to the request. As required by state law, this hearing has been advertised in the local newspaper and a sign has been posted at the site. We have yet to receive any concerns or complaints or issues from any of those postings. Based upon reviewers' comments, Public Works is recommending approval of this request.
This is another one I'd like to delay, not because I just haven't driven it yet. So I like to put my eyes on these before we do it. So if we can delay for one more meeting, is there anything urgency in that? Are we okay?
I think we're fine. Yes, that's
Okay,
fine.
so
There's
yes.
other issues that may or may not concern you. So when we vacate right of way, which is a super easement for public use, then it goes back to private use. So what North Prairie Water has had the foresight to do is get their consultant to speak with these neighbors. So
Okay.
that lower portion will become private property, but they have already entered into an access agreement and it's been signed should the vacation be approved. Because the one neighbor will now be driving across private property. Those agreements have already been executed and signed. They just haven't been recorded yet.
Okay.
So any concerns that may have arisen, PSE entered into an agreement with North Prairie Water District. So those bases have been covered. I just want to
Okay,
let you
great.
know.
And so all the neighbors have been notified and the ones that are immediately affected.
Have been informed and have sat down and agreed to private negotiations for an easement. That's already been taken care of.
Okay, great.
Okay. Any questions?
No further question. I'm going to move that we continue this.
Oh, Commissioner, it is a
Yes?
public hearing, so we do have to open it up and
Oh,
then,
yeah, I
Yes.
didn't see anybody signed up. Is there anybody signed up to speak to this? So I'm opening up the public hearing. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Is there anybody signed up online?
no one is raising their hand.
Okay. So we will continue the public hearing till June 9th for deliberation and decision only. Okay. And Susie, I understand that this was officially your last presentation to the board. Are you going to still be here on June 9th?
I will not. I'm sure one of the other staff members could be available should you guys have any questions.
Well, I'd like to congratulate you on your impending retirement and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
This is the opportunity for the public to address the board on general interests.
Okay, I have people signed up for this and they all wrote down Arborwood. So before we start Arborwood, I want to see if there's anybody online who doesn't want to speak to Arborwood, but wants to speak, because we'll take you first and then we'll go into Arborwood. Anybody raising their hands?
No, no one is raising their hand.
Okay, do we have anybody online who wants to speak to Arborwood, just so we have a sense of numbers?
They're coming in. Oh, just 3 right now.
3, okay.
Mhm.
So we have, just for people's information, we have 8 members of the public signed in to speak. And then we also have the applicants signed in as well. So let's get started with the people who are in the room, then we'll go to the people online. Okay. And April, do you want to start us off?
Good evening. I'm April Ryan from Kingston. Thank you, commissioners and county staff, for your hard work on the Arborwood Development Agreement. This project has a long and complicated history and is just one of the many diverse issues you manage daily. I appreciate the challenge you face in serving all residents of Kitsap County. As a resident, please appreciate that this is my home. The decisions made in these documents have a very real and tangible impact on both the quality of my life and the future of our community. I've already outlined several concerns regarding the amendment in a letter to you, so I'll skip them right now. But as a rapidly developing area, one of our most pressing challenges is inadequate infrastructure, particularly transportation. Before approving every new development opportunity or extending expired vested permits, we must take a realistic look at the future we are creating. What is the quality of life, and is it sustainable? For instance, the amended DA still vests to the 2008 Capital Facilities Level of Services in Section 2.8. The transportation LOS on South Kingston Road will plummet with the projected addition of 7,200 daily vehicle trips from Arborwood project. All these vehicles must funnel over a single narrow bridge across an estuary, the only route to the ferries, schools, shopping centers, hospitals, workplaces, and major highways. Does this sound like good planning or a setup for disaster? These are all preventable problems of our own creation. Please look beyond more expansion and focus on real solutions. Thank you for your thoughtful consideration and for providing a platform for community input. Thank you.
Thank you, April. Ben?
Good evening, Ben Strobel. I live in Kingston. I had written up a piece tonight, but after a few things were said here, I have a couple of questions. One refers to the surveys that were done 17 years ago on traffic impact. They're going to dump 500 to 600 cars per hour out onto South Kingston. If you have an accident down at Arnez Park, the only other way out for everyone in Arborwood, in Jefferson Beach, President's Point, anywhere out there is in through Indianola. Well, let's say we have a forest fire. Then what are we going to do? We're basically trapped with only two ways out. Yet for some reason, there is this moratorium against using a third option, which is Norman Road. It's a county road. It could be developed. My other question is the buffer. No one has ever come up with the explanation. There's a 50-foot buffer. They may want to cut the trees down. They may want to leave the trees. If they cut the trees down, are they going to leave the natural elderberry, salmonberry, alder, maple that's already growing there? Or are they going to scrape it down to bare dirt and rock like they do every place else in the development, and then come in with some plants and plant them like the cedar trees that got toasted in Division 1? Go look. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Next is Jamie Clough.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jamie Clough, and I'm here on behalf of the Kitsap Building Association, and we strongly urge you to support the joint recommendation of the Department of Community Development and the home building community and vote to approve this development agreement. Development agreements like this one are crucial tools. They provide the certainty home builders need to move forward with major investments and deliver thousands for our growing community. Kitsap County has an urgent need to add thousands of homes to meet our housing goals, and this agreement is a meaningful step towards that target. We also want to recognize and sincerely thank county staff for their professionalism and diligence in negotiating a strong and equitable agreement. The Arborwood DA includes significant concessions from the applicant, particularly on stormwater and critical area code requirements. In exchange, it delivers the predictability that makes responsible homeownership possible. This is a balanced outcome that benefits the county, the public, and the builders working to meet our region's housing needs. Thank you for your time and for your continued service to Kitsap County.
Thank you. Joe Lubisher? Oh, I didn't see you here, Joe.
Okay. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Joe Lubisher from Indianola. So as I understand this DA, and understand we've only had a couple days at most to look at it, it's creating a hybrid code, okay? So number one, these references to vesting to the current CAO is a complete misrepresentation, and I ask you not to refer to it that way. So we're dealing with a hybrid code. So the first problem we have, is it going to create some inconsistencies? I don't know. There's nothing in the development agreement that's going to address that. The second thing is Monday, I've got to go to a hearing before the examiner. And so he's going to get section 2.6 and attachment J and be told that this is what he has to adhere to. As I understand that this development agreement, if passed today, would apply to phase 2 appeal. So correct me if I'm wrong. I think the only answer to that is to create what should have been done in the beginning, is to create a full text of the code that the hearing examiner and or the Superior Court judges are going to have to adhere to. I know the 2007 and 2024 codes fairly well for a member of the public compared to the staff, and I can't figure it out. So changing topic slightly, I understood Director Washam to say that certain mitigation items were being put into the being offered as some compensation for these CAO changes, but they're not in the DA. They need to be specified and put in the DA. And in regard to that, I know, like, for example, area 1 and 5, there's already a lot of mitigation going in there. I really have no idea what is being proposed. And lastly, there was a mistake made in Director Wisham's statement. He said that they were just moving around how money moved in terms of the credits for the park. In the first DA, there's no guarantee that credits for park impact fees will be given to the developer. As I read the current development, you're guaranteeing them to give credit rather than following the code, which is they have to apply and a decision has to be made at the appropriate time. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Betsy Cooper. Betsy, before you get started,
Yep.
I'm gonna ask Director Wisham if you hear comments that you'd like to clarify or address, if you could be ready to do that. I'll call you up after the public comments, after the public's commented, just if you have things you want to answer. Not required, but it would be great if there were things that could be clarified. Okay, go ahead, Betsy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. My name is Betsy Cooper. I live in Kingston. While I acknowledge the time and effort taken to negotiate and update this DA, there are major problems that still persist, and I suggest that you revise, make some revisions to the extension in these areas. Excuse me. 6.1.5 discusses county discretion, and I suggest that this section should be eliminated. This is not the same as the original DA language, which was specifically associated with what you could do as a 5-year extension. As written now in the DA, this essentially provides unlimited discretion, and this is unwarranted. 6.14, the appeal delay is unprecedented and should also be eliminated. It penalizes an appellant of any sort that has thoughtfully brought forward errors or inconsistencies in the county in county's actions, and that shouldn't be that shouldn't happen. 6.1.2, construction progress results in essentially 15 years of automatic extension, which is essentially as long as the DA is. That's too long. Those should be reduced. Those individuals should be reduced to 1 year rather than 2 per phase. 8.2, consolidation of implementation approvals. This allows the owner to bring not just existing applications, but new or revised applications for review and consolidate them all. And then in 5.15, it gives the county no additional time to complete or review that and tips it into extension. So I believe that that's not appropriate, that there should in fact be some criteria for additional time for the county to review those approvals so that they're not forced to make errors. And then 2 other quick points. New section 8, the implementation approval creates new community, county and developer information notification requirements. Those notice of these implementation approvals and RIFs should automatically be shared with interested parties to create additional public transparency. And
Last one.
All right. One other thing is that in looking at Appendix J for the time that we had to look at it, it appears there are actually errors in that particular document that should be corrected. Specific errors in numbering and references. So, thank you.
Thank you, Betsy. Next is Andrew Lewis. And then we'll go to folks online.
Thank you, members of the commission, and appreciate members of the public identifying some additional areas of concern. I'll go through as many as I can in the 2 minutes allotted. Some commenters raised concerns about transportation mitigation. I would just state that the SEPA has been deemed complete by the Department of Community Development, reflecting the same scope of project, the 751 houses that has been consistent throughout the pendency of the Arborwood development. There were no concerns raised in the negotiation between the county and the applicant over the past several months about any additional transportation mitigation. Would consider that the transportation mitigation that has been put forward is in line with the SEPA that is going to be adopted and restated through the development agreement as extended. As far as the buffers, this development agreement provides a more consistent and comprehensive recitation of the standards that apply to perimeter buffers throughout Arborwood. The previous agreement had ad hoc and inconsistent references to perimeter buffers. The new agreement comprehensively stipulates there will be a 50-foot perimeter buffer. It stipulates the standards that will apply to those buffers under the vested code. So rural character buffers and screening buffers, depending on their location, as the commission has been briefed on in the sessions over the previous month. There were some references to a hybrid code. That is reflective of the development agreement process. Concerns were raised about the applicability of the vested code. The applicant came forward, negotiated in good faith with the county to selectively upgrade certain code sections in return for certain procedural concessions, and did create a code that is going to be ratified under the DA and applicable. And it looks like my time has expired, and appreciate your consideration.
Thank you for taking the time to respond. Pete, did you want to come forward? We don't do yielding time. Sorry, Pete. You could take Andrew's notes and come up and finish them for him. Okay, very good. Thank you. Dana, who do we have online?
Yes, first up is Beth Nichols. Go ahead, Beth.
Hi, this is Doug, shared computer here at home. I wanted to bring up 2 points that I'm hoping that the commissioners will embrace for future development agreements, which applies to this. Please not allow any more vesting in of older, outdated environmental, CAO or stormwater standards for any future project. That makes no sense at all, especially ones of this size near a critical wetland. And another thing that would be really important that came up in this appeal process that happened with Arborwood was that the lawyers for Taylor Morrison made it a no trespass zone, that they couldn't get their own experts for wetlands and other issues to actually visit the property in question to even be able to have a fair shake at providing expert opinion on what is and what is not a wetland. So we need some modification of the code for that kind of thing, that never happens again. Otherwise, it's just an unfair playing field. I noticed that in looking through documents quite a while back, that the Department of Ecology had pretty strict standards for if this project got approved and proceeded, that there were inspections of vehicles coming and going, doing this construction and work in the area to make sure that invasive plants and other things did not infect the wetlands in this critical area, which is also a feeder for fish-bearing stream. And then I also wanted to make sure that the developer is going to be paying for any traffic modifications. I believe that was included in the original documentation before it was sold to Pulte and Taylor Morrison. And that's essential with our budget cuts and limited budgets, both for the county and for the state. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doug. Next up, we have Beverly Parsons. And Beverly, go ahead.
Thank you. I'm Beverly Parsons from Hansville. My comments are again about the Arborwood Development Agreement. First of all, thank you for the extensive time you and staff have taken to address this agreement. I have 3 requests. The first one is to please take very seriously the points made by Kingston area residents. I have a very high regard for their integrity and knowledge, and their comments really deserve your thoughtful consideration. My second point is whatever decisions you make on the points these Kingston residents raise, I would request that the staff make public in writing why they made their particular recommendations to you on these issues initially. The public needs to understand better the basis of staff recommendations on which you are making decisions. And then my third point, after your decisions are made on Arborwood, I would urge you to take time for a debrief of the process with staff to determine lessons learned that can be applied to other development situations and make those available to the public. Arborwood is the tip of the iceberg of new developments that are raising residential concerns in places such as those on the Royal Valley Highway 303 area. Many of us from the public will be doing such debriefings ourselves as we determine how to better engage with you around other large-scale developments. The upcoming decisions about these developments are already underway and are very difficult and nuanced. We need to learn how to shift our thinking and actions to better take into account the complexities we face and work collaboratively. I would urge that I would argue that we need to reflect on long-standing ways of thinking that may no longer serve us well today and into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly. Okay, next up we have David Teegee. David? David, go ahead. David, it looks like you're still unmuted.
How's that?
There you go. Yes.
I'm Dave Teegee. I live on Hellbend Lane, and I have a question under changes 7, and it has to do with the appeal delay. the agreement automatically is extended for the equivalent time agreement or permits under appeal. And it says excluding owner appeals, and I'd like clarification on that. I would think if they lost an appeal, they shouldn't get any credit for their time spent on that appeal. That's all I had. If I can answer the question, I appreciate it.
I think we can answer that right now because I'm looking at Director Weisham. You are correct in the way you want that to be interpreted, David. If the applicant appeals, it doesn't count towards their extending their time frame. Otherwise, yeah. Otherwise, if somebody else appeals, they're appealing a county decision. So it's the county's responsibility. And so it seemed fair to not penalize the applicant on that because it was an appeal of a county decision. But if the applicant appeals the county decision, they don't get a benefit from that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep. And I'm not speaking on behalf of the director, but I was watching him as I spoke and he was nodding. I nailed it, he said.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else online?
No one else is raising their hand.
Okay, Rafe, do you have some comments?
I do, thank you. Couple things on the park impact fees. We were already reimbursing them for the park impact fees, so I don't think that changing this does anything other than cleans up the process. To answer the park impact fee concern, I think there's a different way to looking at the critical areas ordinance. They keep calling it. Well, all of us keep calling it a hybrid. I think the better way to look at it is it's taken the old CAO, and I want to remind you guys that this wasn't an ask as we went into the negotiations with the CAO, it's stormwater specific. It's not a hybrid CAO, it's taking the old critical area ordinance and taking some of the benefits from current critical area ordinance and asking them to meet those current. So it's not necessarily a hybrid per se. It's more of an improvement on what was written in the old CAO at 2007. We're now meeting 2024. And then SDAP approval times. I think it was Betsy. I agree. The concern is valid as her concern of SDAPs being submitted all at once, right? That's a big lift on the county. I will say that there could be 17 applicants tomorrow who all came in and submitted their SDAPs, and we would be beholden to 5290 requirements. So doesn't change our requirements regardless of if all 5 are submitted at once. If all 5 come from Arborwood or they come from wherever else in the county, my team has to meet those deadlines. And then finally, I just want to remind everyone in the room that the current zoning for Arborwood would allow for 9 dwelling units per acre. So when we talk about traffic impacts, we talk about impacts in the area, the current zoning would allow for townhomes, commercial infrastructure, and over 2,300 units as opposed to the 751 that are here. So just when we think about the impacts, if we went right away from this agreement and just allowed development to happen, the zone would allow for those impacts. So I want to make sure we're clear on kind of why development was signed in the first place, is to prevent that. And that's all I've got, unless you have any questions for me.
Since we have Rafe up at the podium, are there any other questions for Rafe as follow-up?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
I think the clarification, your last statement on the traffic impact, because that was one of my concerns, kind of looking through this. I think that's a great delineation of, 23 homes, and then the history of why this original one was DA, which was an agreement made with the county to 750, give or take. So thank you for clarifying that. I thought that was a good point. I didn't hear that before, so thank you for that.
No problem.
Yeah, I also want to say, Rafe, and also to Lisa Nichols from the prosecutor's office, to the best of my knowledge, this is the first time that county commissioners have debated and negotiated a development agreement in public workshops. We started with a public hearing in Poulsbo closer to the location so that more people could attend. And I think we got a better result than we would have if we hadn't done it publicly. I regret that the final product, it wasn't public, 2 weeks ago, but that's the way negotiations work. But I want to say thank you to Rafe and Lisa, because I know that wasn't necessarily comfortable with you to be negotiating in public while these guys got to do whatever they were doing privately and then coming to you. It was a unbalanced negotiation, but it was in terms of you having to show your cards publicly. But I appreciated that we structured it that way, and I hope it's a model. If we ever do a development agreement again, that we start with a public process for it instead of the more traditional way that it's been done in the past. So thank you for bringing some sunlight to the process.
Yeah, Madam Chair, can I coattail on that?
Yeah.
I got to say that, again, being a new commissioner, listen to the public and the residents speak, and they're able to have the information so they can express their feelings in the public forum. I think that is the way we should be doing things as a government anyway. So this is the exact right way to do this, to make sure that everybody is heard and that we're fair and balanced for everybody. So absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I think we got a much better product because of the public comments and being able really to, I feel like we were heard, and the public was heard, and was really impressed with what you came back with. So thank you. I think it's something that is for a greater community benefit than if we would have just said no. So I think we ended up with something that will be best for the community.
I do want to say too that I don't think there's any doubt that I would have gone further than we ended up going. But I appreciate the team approach that the three of us took to get to something that was balanced. And I will say to the applicants that part of having transparency in this system is so that commissioners don't get disqualified early on for being working with neighborhoods and working with the people that we are elected to represent. And so by having these kinds of conversations publicly, we are all enabled to participate the way that we should be able to. And I still have concerns about how this will be implemented. So I'm looking at the applicants, the developers, and saying, we need you to be good neighbors, or this will continue to be fought in court. And so you have heard really clearly for the last 4 months what is important to the people who live near the new neighborhood you're creating, and you've heard what's important to us. And I hope that that will carry through to the on the ground, the contractors that you use, the subcontractors that you use, and you can carry that back to your headquarters. You can tell people you're building one of the best, most prettiest developments in America, and that you are doing it with integrity and responsive to the environmental values of the North Kitsap community. I'm hoping that that is what we hear moving forward. And I hope that the county will hold their feet to the fire and make sure they perform. And we will.
Well said.
Okay, thank you, Rafe, for clarifying. Is there any other discussion? Okay. This is probably a motion nobody's excited about making, but does anybody want to make it? Oran?
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I move to approve the proposed resolution allowing the extension to and modification of the 2010 development agreement with Pute Homes of Washington Incorporated and Taylor Morrison Northwest LLC.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. The developer agreement is ready to be signed. Okay. And that, I believe, concludes our meeting.
We do have commissioner comments.
Of course.
Okay, for folks who want to leave, we won't hold you responsible for being rude or anything, just does anybody have anything they'd like to say?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Dana has a slide for me.
Commissioner Walters is back in
I'm
action.
back. No, just one really important thing that I wanted to comment on is that we are working on the new Silverdale Center plan, and we have a virtual community meeting, a workshop that's coming up on Thursday. And there's the link. If you see the link, you can join us online. I will put it in my newsletter. I will also push it out online. But it's just the start of us visioning what we want for our regional center. And so we know that a lot of the growth is going to be put in Silverdale so that we can keep the open spaces open and green and pretty. So we're looking at how we want Silverdale to grow up in the future. And so we need everyone's input on that. And so I just wanted to put that out there. So it's the start, it's an online meeting, and then there'll be future in-person visioning workshops as well. But invite you to this initial meeting. Thursday at 5:30.
Commissioner Root,
No.
you guys are forgetting the part where we're riding in a Hummer. Isn't it a Hummer?
Yeah.
I think it's a Hummer.
We're in the Armed Forces
And the Armed Forces
Day
Day
Parade.
So,
Convertible at that, right?
yeah.
Oh, well, and you have the Divide property.
Yeah, I
ribbon
was
cutting
going to
at the
say,
Divide,
we have the ribbon cutting for the Divide property up in North Kingston. In this neighborhood, in this area we've been talking about, the county contributed $2 million to the purchase of the Great Peninsula Conservancy's Divide property, the big habitat trail property that they have. Are you going to that?
I am. Yep.
Okay,
Sound like
so
it.
we'll be there. Then we'll be rushing down to the Armed Forces Day Parade, and then I'll be rushing back up to Viking Fest Parade.
And then there's a gala or something that evening too for the military gala or something.
There's
the Navy League.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll be going down to that
All
too.
day.
Oh, I forgot.
okay, and then the sheriff is going to be at the Kingston Community Advisory Council taking questions on Wednesday night at 6:30 at the Kingston Village Green.
And Wednesday, I have a town hall with Representative Greg Nance. You've already had yours, right?
I had two,
yeah. So opportunities there too.
Okay,
Lots going on.
that concludes our meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you all.